The December 1st, 2025 meeting of the North Olmsted Building and Zoning Board of Appeals will come to order at 7 p.m. If everyone would please join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. Ms. Wilson, if you could please call the roll.
Mr. Papato?
Here.
Mr. Ammons?
Here.
Mr. Mackey?
Here.
Ms. Glotno?
Okay. Everybody, a reminder that we need to excuse Ms. Glatno at the end of the meeting. All right. For all business before the board, each board member has viewed the premises involved in the case. Each case will be judged on the physical situation peculiar to itself, so that in no way is a judgment rendered considered to be a general policy affecting all properties and situations elsewhere. 3 votes are required for approval. So, important point for tonight's meeting. We had one member that had a family emergency and wasn't able to make it tonight. So we only have 3 members here tonight. In order for your case to pass, you will need all 3 of us to vote yes. So, and if only one person doesn't, so normally we would have 5. So you could have 2 people vote no. You still need 3 votes yes. But tonight you would need all 3 people to vote yes. So if you wish, and Director Groh can explain this more eloquently than I can, we can table your presentation for your case until our next meeting, where hopefully we'll have more members for voting. If you feel that having more people voting than 3 would be advantageous to you. So we can do that before the meeting so that you don't have to sit through the meeting or wait for your case, or wait, or anybody else wishing to speak on the case has to wait either. So,
Mr. Chairman, that's spot on. So, you have to get 3 out of 4 because we have 1 vacancy and 1 absence. If we have a vacancy filled between now and the next meeting, you have to get 3 out of 5. But tonight you need to get 3 out of 3. If you feel your chances would be better, or if you'd like to have more members to give you a little bit of breathing room on your vote, just let us know now, and we'll schedule it for the next meeting. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and have you go tonight, and the decision of the board, if it's rendered tonight, is final. With an appeal available to you if you're not satisfied. If the variance is granted, you're set. If the variance is denied, then that's a different issue. But
right, and if the variance is denied, you can't just come back the next month with the same presentation, with the same case. You have to make a significant change to it in order to be heard again. So, unfortunately, that's where we are tonight. So, does anyone wish to be tabled to the next meeting? Okay. So, how should we?
Mr. Okay, so first of all, why don't we have whoever wishes to be tabled come up to the podium, provide your name. Although we know your name, we remember you from last month, but go right ahead, please.
Hi, my name is Mercedes Lux, and I would like to waiting for the next meetings.
Okay. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Justin Crassy. I just have one quick question. Can we watch a couple before making a decision, or do we need to do right this second?
We usually have this just handled at the beginning.
Okay, then we'll table ours until the next meeting as well.
What's your last name again, please?
Crassy, C-R-A-S-I.
That is, yeah. Sinner, right?
Sinor, yeah.
Got that one.
Which one? Okay. Anyone else?
Thank you.
Okay, so the 2 cases tonight that will be tabled are Mercedes Lux at 5854 Stearns Road, and then Nicholas and Sarah Sinor at 5398 Columbia Road. So those people don't have to stay for the meeting, and anyone else wishing to that was here to speak on that or say anything, you don't have to stay for the meeting also. So,
Mr. Chairman, and I suggest that you just make that into a motion right now to table that to the next meeting, those 2 matters, and then we can proceed with the agenda after that vote's taken.
okay.
Want me to make a motion?
Sure.
Okay. I move that we table case numbers 340-2025 Mercedes Lux at 5854 Stearns Road, and case number 356-2025, Nicholas and Sarah Sinor at 5398 Columbia Road.
I second.
Motion made by Mr. Mackey and seconded by Mr. Ammons. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed? Okay, so anyone presenting those cases or wishing to speak on those cases, you can stay or you can go, whatever, but we will put you on the agenda for the next meeting. Okay. Okay. This one. Okay, so first item on our agenda tonight is case 343-2025, Stephen Gombach at 6418 Surrey Drive. Yep, you could come up to the podium, please. Oh, sorry, I stopped before I told everybody what we're doing. So as you're up there, I'll finish what I was supposed to say before. Our meeting procedure tonight, cases will be called in order of the agenda. When your case is called, if you could please come up to the podium, give your name, including the spelling and address. And if anyone else in the audience wishes to speak on the case being presented, please come up at the same time. Same thing, give your name and address. I will swear you in. We'll have city representative provide a description of the case and then back to the applicant to present your case. So if you could.
I'm Stephen Gumbach, and I live at 6418 Surrey Drive. This is my wife, Ariel.
Okay.
Ariel Pund, ARIELPUND.
Okay. If I could swear you both in, please. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
We do.
Thank you. Ms. Healy?
Thank you. This is for a storage building. There's one variance request. It's a 42 square foot variance for the size of a storage building. Code allows 150 square foot. The applicant shows 192 square feet. The proposed shed is 12 by 16, which is 192 square feet. And the lot size is 11,550 square feet. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, if you could please tell us about your case.
Yes, we have a pretty large backyard, and I'm not quite sure if the 42 extra square feet is really going to make much of a difference, at least to my neighbors. Who, some are sitting right there for us. But we do have a lot of stuff to store. We both have family-owned businesses and our own personal businesses, which some of the not material but equipment that we store is partially stored at our own house sometimes of the year, which would be nice to get out of our garage, and very difficult not to without a little bit bigger size shed. Riding lawn mower is one of them. Mini skid steer with an auger on it, that's another one. I'm a contractor, so I do a lot of different projects, that's for sure. We also gonna need to store patio furniture in there. Got some kayaks, we have a motorcycle. Just no place for our cars to go besides our driveway, and it'd be nice to at least be able to park one vehicle inside.
If you'll notice from the pictures that I submitted, you cannot see our backyard from the street. Our landscaping and our neighbor's landscaping covers it completely. So it wouldn't be an eyesore from the street. You would be seeing, you should have a picture of a big Colorado blue spruce there. The shed is immediately behind that. That's our front yard. And then in our backyard, which is the second picture a little bit further down, our neighbors behind us have a full fence. We also have a fairly mature tree line back there, so you actually don't see through that at all during the spring and the summer. That's about it.
Okay, all right, thank you. Ms. Healy, any comment from the building department?
Nothing really to add, just that it's a minimal request, and I have nothing else to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Director Upton?
Yes, thank you. It's nice to be with you all this evening. Apologies for a couple of absences due to parent-teacher conferences. Nonetheless, I did want to opine briefly that in 2026, now that we've finished the comprehensive plan in 2025, one of the things that we're going to be working through is an audit of the zoning code. And part of that audit will be the idea of shed sizes. This body sees a lot of shed size variances, and a lot of the standard sheds you see now are 11 or 12 by 16, 10 by 16, which all three of those sizes are over the 150 feet. So all three of them get them in front of this body. So we are going to be looking at that. We have no issues with this and encourage supporting this particular variance, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Director Pro, any comments?
Not at this time. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Board members, any questions for city staff or for the applicants?
I have no questions.
I have none.
None here either, so if you could have a seat. And could I have a motion on this case, please?
Discussion?
Motion first.
I'll move that we approve the variance for case number 343-2025.
I'll second.
Okay, motion made by Mr. Mackey and seconded by Mr. Ammons. Discussion?
This seems like a fairly standard request, variance request regarding sheds in the past year or two, especially. So I'm in favor of granting the variance.
I agree. Just plenty of space, and we don't have any, and they're not harming anybody or anything on this one, so we're okay.
And I think based on Director Upping's comments that the shed sizes will be looked at in the upcoming year. I think it's a good advance. Could please call the roll?
Mr. Mackey?
Yes.
Mr. Emmons?
Yes.
Mr. Papato?
Yes. Okay, folks, your variance request is passed. Okay, next item on the agenda is 349-2025 Erica Papp at 4944 Hampton Drive. And anyone else wishing to speak on this case?
No, it's just me. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Hang on one second if you could, please, so we quiet down a little. If you could just give us your name and address and spelling and address.
My name is Erica Papp. My address is 4944 Hampton Drive.
Okay, if I could swear you in, please. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Ms. Seeley, if you could please give us an introduction.
Oh, sure.
Sorry, it's my fault.
So this is, there's, one second. So there's a little bit going on here with this one. It's for a storage building and a chicken coop. There's quite a few variance requests on this one. So I kind of broke them up into sections, and I'm not sure we'll get to Mr. Director Grow later on, I guess, to see how you want to vote on it, but I'll just read it. Okay, the first one is a 5-foot variance for distance to the side lot line of a freestanding accessory structure. The code requires 5 feet, applicant shows 0 feet. This is the storage building that's 8 feet by 8 feet. And then the next all the requests have to do with the chicken coop. So there's a 550 square foot variance for area where chickens are harbored. Code permits 50 square feet, applicant shows 600 square feet. The second one on this one is a 2-foot variance for height of an animal shelter. Code permits 6 feet, applicant shows 8 feet. And then the third is an 8-foot 6-inch variance for distance of animal shelter to side lot line. Code permits 10 feet, applicant shows 1 foot 6 inches. And the same, number 4 is an 8-foot 6-inch variance for distance of animal shelter to the rear lot line. Code permits 10, applicant shows 1 foot 6. And number 5, a 5-foot variance for distance of animal shelter to dwelling on adjacent lot. Code permits 45 feet, applicant shows 40 feet. The animal shelter is 8 feet by 10 foot by 9 foot high, enclosed in a fenced an area of 24 feet wide by 25 feet long, so that's 600 square feet. And then thirdly is a 10-foot variance for excessive rear yard lot coverage. Code permits up to 20%, which is 1,045 square feet, based on rear yard area of 5,225 square foot. Applicant shows 30% at 1,604 square feet. And this is based on the shed, animal shelter, and the pool. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, if you could please tell us about your case.
I know it looks like a lot, compared to the previous lady and gentleman. The first variance, the distance from my my shed distance from the neighbor. I obtained permission from my neighbor on the shed side, and they approved. They said they don't mind having my shed next to their property line, because if I would move it over the back of the house, I would not be able to open the actual shed door. And that's where I store all the equipment for the winter, the summer, the patio sets and everything. I believe I have pictures of the storage shed, and how it stands. And you cannot see it from the front. I have a front gate, and then I have a privacy gate as well. It does not obstruct any views for my neighbors. It does not obstruct anything on their side at all. So that's the shed that is in question in number one. The variance for the chickens, I have the same exact shed in the back, a foot and a half away from the neighbor's property line, which is where their shed is, on the property line. So they have absolutely, I have a letter from her, they have absolutely no problem with both of our sheds being, a foot and a half away from the property line. She loves my chickens, and she doesn't have any issues with anything that has to do with the chicken coop. There is no odor. There is nothing. The reason that I have such a large area is the shed itself, and then they have a chicken run. So in order for chickens to be healthy chickens, not have compiled feces and odors and everything, is to make sure that they have a large enough run in order to distribute that. So even in the summertime, in the hottest weathers, there is no odor, there is nothing, because the amount of space is large enough to distribute that, even with me cleaning and for them harboring, for me harboring 10 chickens, it doesn't, there's no diseases, there's nothing that involves any kind of cruelty to animals or anything. They're very happy chickens. So that's why I'm asking you ladies and gentlemen if I could have that variance to be able to have the sunlight for the chickens and the chicken coop for the shelter in order for them to be safe. The 5-foot variance in the back, I'm backed up to Stearns Road, where it's nothing but a wooded area. So there is no obstruction, there is no neighbors in the back. There's nothing except for woods. And there's, it's basically just open. And I believe we measured with the inspector when he came out that the animal shelter is over 45 feet, almost 50 feet away from any dwelling. So I believe Mr. Smith measured that when he was out last time. And the 10% variance, I don't know, when I moved in there 7 years ago, there were concreted areas, like both sheds that I have right now are on an existing concreted area that was there before. I did not concrete anything. I didn't, I just put, even the back shed that I have the chickens in, it's a concreted area where another shed already existed, but it rotted away. I had professionally removed, and that's where the chicken coop went. And the shed that I have on the side, it's in a concrete area that was already existed. So I'm not sure about the 20% that or the 30% that was allowable, because the pool was there, everything was there already. I just moved the gardens and the chickens in, and that's it.
Okay, all right, thank you. Ms. Healy, comments from the building department?
So yes, this it did come as a complaint, and originally Tim did go over there. He measured it, I believe, from the structure itself and not from the fenced-off area, so that you have to measure the whole thing when you're talking about a chicken coop. Can't just be from the structure. Everything that is associated with the chicken coop has to be, 45 feet? 45 feet from the dwelling. That's why it is 5 foot. So originally when Eric and I spoke, there was not a variance there, but then I figured it out. There is that is variance had to be added. Originally, there was barbed wire on top of the fence. She did remove that. And I don't know if that was for animals to get in there to harm her chickens, not to hurt the chickens from trying to get out, but I think animals getting in. She has removed that. The pool was rather dirty and it was filled with algae. She has since gotten a cover for that. So she has fixed some of the violations that came in. I believe the one neighbor who wanted to remain anonymous is the one who filed the complaint. And so that's hence Tim went over there, witnessed all the structures, witnessed the chicken coop. The pool probably was put in years ago with a permit. I'd have to look up and see. There's nothing in there for sheds except for hers, which she did try to pull the permits after Tim went out there and gave her the violation. So they weren't permitted or issued. The permit was not issued prior to the complaint. So everything has happened since the complaint came in. Let me see what other notes I had. I mean, there is a lot going on in her yard, and she does, and like she said, she does back up to woods. But we do have to take in consideration the neighbor who did file the complaint. I believe there's a couple neighbor signatures in here, and I think they're only saying the structure itself, the shed, that they're okay with. I'm not sure if they're okay with the chicken coop because it doesn't really spell out the chicken coop that they're okay with. I know one of the neighbors did call us to see if she needed to come to the meeting today. She spoke with Tim. Tim told her, it's up to you if you want to come or not. She did not provide anything ahead of time, any sort of documentation or letter or anything for us to read that I'm aware of. But she called rather late today to see what she needed to do, but she didn't come to the meeting. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Director Upton?
Miss Seeley stole a bit of my thunder with respect to adjacent neighbors in complaints. I will note in my view, and I think this body's seen a few. We've seen a few chicken coop variances of varying sizes and stripes. I will note that as Ms. Seeley said, the neighbors indicated that they were okay with a shed, and it doesn't explicitly say chicken coop in their letters of support. When we look at these things, these variances run with the land. So while the applicant, we take her at her word that she has happy chickens that are well taken care of and well looked after, she may sell, and there might be new chickens that aren't taken care of and aren't well looked after, and these variances still hold. And the variances before you are substantial. Being right next to the lot line as opposed to off of the lot line, an area variance of essentially having what is that 8 times the allowable square footage. The code it requires or permits 50. There's 600 feet, 550 foot variance is a very substantial variance. So all around here, I don't see. I caution the board as to what is within the bounds of an appropriate variance and whether or not the hardship has been truly met, and do not believe that the variances in their size and scope as presented ought to be given favorable consideration. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Director Pearl?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would remind's not the right word, but suggest that these are governed by the Duncan Middlefield standards that I had distributed to you earlier. Can the property yield a reasonable return, or can there be any beneficial use of the property without the variance? Is the variance substantial? Will the essential character of the neighborhood be substantially altered, or will adjoining properties suffer a substantial detriment as a result of the variance? Will the variance adversely affect the delivery of governmental services, water, sewer, garbage? Doesn't seem so. Did the property owner purchase the property with knowledge of the zoning restriction? I don't know to that one. Can the property owner's predicament be precluded through some method other than the variance? would the spirit and intent behind the zoning requirement be observed and substantial justice done by granting the variance? It's not one, you don't have to have every one of these, single one of these things that needs to be voted on one way or the other, but these are the standards that you should be looking at. I think it's beyond a doubt that it certainly is a substantial variance. It's larger than most variances I think I've seen in quite some time, at least for one property. We've had development plans come in that had substantial variances because people are trying to put, new structures on new land. This one is larger than most that I've seen, and I'm guessing, we don't, each case is handled on its own, but I guess that goes toward it's substantial. So I would ask you to give consideration to those standards as you review this particular proposal tonight, and consideration to the comments from my colleagues as well. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, board members, questions for the applicant or for city staff?
I have a question for Ms. Seeley.
Yes.
In the code enforcement segment you talked about, have all the violations been remedied at this date?
No, not the chicken coop size, not the structure, the shed. So other like property maintenance violations, yeah, I would say yes, they have been. The pool with the algae in it, she got the cover. She was using it kind of just like as a pond almost. We got a cover for it, so now it's safe and children can't fall in it. It's not going to have like algae in it anymore. She did get rid of the barbed wire, which is not an improved structure for a fence. I think those were the only two real property maintenance violations. The other more violations are the work without permit, putting these two structures up without a permit and not code compliant. Does that answer your question?
Okay, there are continuing matters though regarding some code violations that are in process. Is that what I gather?
Yes, what we're here today for the variances. These are the only ones that are open right now. The location and the size and everything that goes along with the chicken coop, and the location of the shed, and then the being over the rear yard coverage. So yes, she's still in violation. Unless you guys grant her variances, then she would be fine.
Okay. All right. I don't have any other questions at this time.
Questions?
I guess I have another question for the board. Are these variances for the shed and the chicken coop, can those be voted on independently, or are they together?
Yeah, there's a lot going on here. So I think, yeah, I'm trying to find the cover sheet. Oh, here it is.
There's three different sections of variance.
I mean, they kind of go together. But I mean, you're talking about the shed is variance number 1. Yeah, the shed is variance 1, and then the second number. Yeah, I have it numbered.
So there's 5 variances
it's different.
for the chicken coop.
I'm sorry, it's different on the agenda than it is. It's numbered differently.
Oh, my apologies.
No, it's okay. I'm just trying to make sure we're all
So
looking at the same
here's
thing.
the shed variance, and then these next are all the chicken coop, and then there's
And then there's the. Yeah.
there's
I think you
the
can
lot
probably
coverage.
the easiest way to do it would be as described. And they're not numbered differently; they're just laid out slightly differently between the actual staff report and then this. I think you can see it's covered into 3 sections. There's a 1, then it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then it drops into 1 again. I mean, you could cover it. You could do it under the first number 1 deals specifically with the shed, and then 1 through 5 deals with the chicken coop, and then there's the third one deals with the excessive rear yard coverage as well. And you can do it as long as it's made clear that how you're making that motion. If you wish to make a motion on number 1, which deals with the building code, the code with respect to the storage building, and then vote on that, and then if you wish to vote it collectively for the chicken coop variances, that's fine. And then lastly is the lot coverage. Just make sure we're clear on how we're in the motion, exactly how those are laid out. Probably as I did. Yeah, that they're broken down that way. I was looking at the agenda. It's just laid out differently.
Can I add something?
Mr. Chairman, it's up to you.
Absolutely, please.
When I had the sheds put in, Alpine Sheds came and put the sheds in. They assured me that they pulled the permits. I said, is everything taken care of? They said yes. I would have never put these sheds in with the variances if I knew them as they stand. I paid a lot of money for these sheds through Alpine Sheds, and I think they wanted the sale more than they wanted to abide by city regulations. So trust me, I swear to you, I would have never put these sheds in if I knew the regulations of the city and if they did not say that they took care of everything. I did not know there were no permits pulled. I didn't know anything. And I even emailed them saying, I thought you took care of everything. And I told them next time you should have the owner sign something saying they're supposed to pull the permit and not you, because this is a mess and it's a nightmare for me as of right now, you know, especially with the sheds being, you know, as they are. And the neighbors have no problem with the sheds. Their shed is next to my shed in the back. So I have a pretty good idea who made the complaint, even though they don't want to be, you know, they want to be anonymous. But that's nor here or there. But trust me, I would have never did none of these violations if I knew that the sheds were not gonna be compliant.
Any other questions or comments? I have a couple of questions.
Yeah.
So it seems like the largest variance you're requesting is for the area where the chickens are
Yes.
harbored, and do understand the health and the, you know, free range aspect of, and giving the chickens more room. But, you know, as Mr. Crow was saying, what we need to look at is are there ways that you could still have what you have but not need a variance, and you know, that we have ordinances that we believe are reasonable. Understand that there's different ways to look at things, but you know, looking at ways to try to, you know, I think you have reasons for some of the other variance requests, but that one seems to be the one that really stands out as being a significant change. And as Ms. Seeley said, that the measurement from the adjoining structure isn't from the chicken coop building itself, it's from the enclosure for the chickens. So
Can we see the picture of the aerial view of the whole property with the garden and everything? Nope, there's another one.
Yeah, you passed it.
is there another one?
You can stop at that one.
Is that a good one?
No, there's another picture that you can see.
With the
whole-
square on it.
With the whole backyard with the gardens. It was that right there. So can you see like the back?
Go down.
See, that's where. This is where this shed is next to their shed, and this is, there's a thing right there for the chickens, you know, along. So that's where they are. So it seems like it's a lot, 600 square feet, but it's really, it's just this part right there.
Right, it seems like a big number.
I-
It's 24 by 25, which is a big number.
Yeah,
but
it looks, yeah. And the reason there's the two tarped areas, so in the wintertime, like right now, when we have snow, they can actually come outside instead of living inside the shed all winter, or even in the summertime, they can come outside and be in the tarped areas and protect them from the snow, and they can still kind of be outside.
All right, thank you. question for Ms. Seeley is, so the land behind the house, is that
It's
part
city,
of the Stearns Road?
it's city
Right
property.
away, that's city property.
Mhm.
Okay, the wall is up closer to the road, but
Yeah, let me see if I have the overview. Correct. There's probably, I don't know, I have to measure it, but there's probably a good maybe, let me see if I can measure it real quickly. Between her backyard and where the wall is. If there's, I don't know, 50 to 100 feet, I have to see if I can measure it.
yeah, but there's
the
a
county-
significant distance in the.
Correct, there is, and then there's the wall.
Right. So,
Yeah, from the back of her property to the wall is 120 feet. Approximately.
okay. All right. Any other questions or?
I guess I'm just a little bit confused. Unfortunately, my knowledge of chicken coops and so forth is not top notch, so I have to ask a few more
Sure.
questions just to make sure that I understand what the variance is for, and what they're asking, and what they have here now. So she's got what looks like the building itself, chicken coop, and then she's got two covered areas
And a
Yeah, it's like a
fence.
chicken
that,
run.
that are those areas just there for shade and protection? They're open side.
Yeah, it's just for shade and protection, so they can come
And
outside
those-
instead of just living all their lives inside the house, inside of that chicken coop. You know, they can actually come outside and there's light, you know, that they can just be outside a little bit.
And those covered areas actually are counting towards
Correct, the whole structure itself,
as
including
part of the structure.
everything, if you look at the code, is everything with the chicken coop can only be 50 square feet, including the run. So you consider that the run where she has the tarps over and the fenced-in area, that would be considered the run. And our code only allows for 50 square feet
Right.
of everything.
Covered areas
So on the
actually are
right-hand side,
counting
it gives you all the
towards-
code here. Correct, the
Yeah.
whole structure
I got
itself,
that, as
including
part of the structure.
everything, if you look at the
So 50
coop
square
can
feet
only
for
be 50 square
everything,
feet,
and
including the
building
run.
itself is 8.
So you consider that the run where she has
Correct,
the
yes.
tarps over and the fenced-in area, that would be considered the run. And our code only allows for 50 square feet
Right.
of everything.
Even if you didn't have.
Covered areas
So on the
actually are
right-hand side, it
counting
gives you all the
towards-
code here. Correct, the whole structure
I got
itself,
that, as
including
part of the structure.
everything, if you look at the
Yes, sir.
Uh,
So 50
Thank you,
square
Mr.
feet
Chairman,
for
if I
square
may.
feet,
I
including the run.
just
So you
want to
consider that
also
the run
point
where
out
she has
too,
the tarps over and the fenced-in area, that
11
would be considered the run.
35,
And our code
which
only
is
allows for
the
50
chapter
square
in
feet
which you find
of
the
everything.
Even if you didn't have.
Areas
So on the
actually are
right-hand side, it
counting
gives you all
towards-
the
the
code
accessory
here. Correct, the whole
uses
structure
for
itself,
in the
including
single
part of the
family
structure.
district,
Everything,
the
if you
one
look
and
at the-
two family residence.
Yes, sir.
This was a
Thank you,
chapter
Mr.
that
Chairman,
was
if I may.
updated
I- I-
in
So you
So you
2018.
consider that the run where she has the tarps over
And I
and
just
the
want to
fenced-in
level
area,
that
that would
out
be considered the run.
35, just
And
to
our
say
code
that
only allows
this is
for
a
50
chapter in kind of the
everything.
current
Even if you didn't have.
Areas
So on the
actually are
right-hand side, it
counting
gives you all
towards-
the
the
code
accessory
here.
uses
The whole
in
structure
our
itself,
code,
including
single
part of
family
the structure.
district,
Everything,
the
if you
one
look
and
at
two
the-
family residence.
Is-
This was a
Thank you,
chapter
Mr.
that
Chairman,
was
if I may.
updated
I-
in
So you consider that
2018,
the run
point
where
out
she has
too.
the tarps
And
over
I just want to
and the
level
fenced-in
that
area,
out
would be considered the run.
35, just to
And our
say
code
that
only
this is
allows
a
for
chapter
50
in kind of
It
the
came
current.
from
Even if you didn't.
chickens in yards and people having chicken coops and chicken runs in yards. And the council enacted it with the idea that this was the medium, median place that you could come to balance residential neighborhoods with people's desire to have chickens. I don't know how many chickens she has, but my neighbor has chickens and they comply with this particular code section. I'm not telling you that because that's evidence. I'm just saying, and it shouldn't be accepted by me as evidence in your consideration to balance residential neighborhoods with people's
the code
desire to have
section
chickens. I don't know how many relatively recent and was the position that the city had taken. My neighbor has chickens had taken. They to kind of comply with this particular code section. I'm not telling you that residential neighborhoods, but I'm just saying, and it shouldn't be accepted by me as evidence in consideration to balance residential neighborhoods with people's desire to have chickens. I don't know how many relatively recent and was the position that the city had taken. My neighbor has chickens had taken. They to kind of comply. Can I ask a question, Mr. Chairman? How many chickens do you have? I'm not telling you that residential neighborhoods, but I'm just saying, which is and it shouldn't be accepted by me as evidence in consideration.
I have one other question. When you described the area of the shed and the surrounding fenced-in area for the chickens to have a chicken run. Was there some kind of a standard or a guideline that you became familiar with in animal husbandry literature about proper, standards for raising poultry that gave you this idea that you needed this much space?
Yeah, I was looking online and how to have healthy, normal chickens for, what the area would be for 10 chickens, what the general area would be. And that's where I did all my research on chickens and, found out a lot of things that they're just not, egg laying machines. They're actually like, they can feel, they can, do a lot more things. So when I did my research for the areas and everything, that's what I looked online.
Okay. And you mentioned earlier in your testimony that the shed and the chicken coop, both separate buildings, they are situated on prior existing concrete pads. So you did not have a contractor pour or extend a pad to site either of these two buildings?
No, sir. Where the chicken coop is situated at, there was a shed that was decaying. I had that professionally removed, and that's where that shed, the chicken coop, went. And the other one next to, like, kind of back from the house on the left-hand side, it's already concreted. The reason they put it there because if they would have moved it, the back of the house I couldn't have opened the door. It's a direct line. The picture shows it's a direct line to the driveway, so I can drive the, mower up there. I can do, just
Right.
get it. It's easier, and my neighbors had no problem with it whatsoever.
Okay, thank you.
And were the sheds built at the same time?
Yes, sir.
And was the second one built as a chicken coop, or was it built as, when you had the builders, for their information, it was just a shed?
No, they knew it was gonna be a chicken coop. That was the specific reason. So they knew they were bringing in two sheds. And the two sheds were the same price, the same measurement, the same everything. They knew exactly what it was for.
I'm just asking because it was, you can't have two sheds on one property, and if they had gone to pull a permit, that those things would have come out at that time.
Yeah, if they would have pulled a permit, they would have knew to put it 5 feet back. So that's why I was so angry, because they didn't.
Okay. All right. Any other questions or anything else you have?
I don't want to take up any more of your time.
No, that's okay. Any other questions? Anyone?
I have no questions.
I have no questions.
All right, we could have a motion in a second, please.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to move that we vote on 3 separate votes for these variances.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, with that introduction, then I would make each motion and then a vote, second motion, and do it that way, okay? You may have been gonna do it that way, but I'm just offering a friendly suggestion. But with the introduction that you're gonna break it into 3 pieces and then make 3 separate motions, voting on each one before the next.
Okay, so let's back up to discussion for a second. So what's your thought on the 3 motions?
Well, the motion number 1 would consist of the 5-foot variance as described in variance request number 1. And that would be for the chicken coop, as I understand it. Or would that be?
That's for the shed.
That's for the shed, okay. So variance number 1 would be considered for the shed.
Okay.
Variance number 2 would be the items 1 through 5, which are related to the chicken coop and the area for the chicken run. And then for the shed. Motion number 3, variance number 2 would be the Items 1 through 5, the excessive rear yard lot cover are related to the chicken the applicant is requesting, and the 30% area for the chicken run. And then for the shed. Motion number variance number 2 would be items 1 through 5. The excessive rear yard lot cover related
wanna
to
do them in
the
that
chicken
order?
the applicant is requesting, and the 30%
The shed,
area.
number one stands by itself. I think.
Yes.
And number
And then
three,
the
I think,
shed.
maybe stands by
Motion
itself.
number,
I think
variance
it's-
number 2 would be
So if you would like to do
items
that.
1 through 5. The excessive
Mr.
rear
Chairman,
yard lot
I
cover
think
related
wanna
to
do
maybe
them in
chronologically
that order?
as they were laid out might be the easiest to
And
follow.
the
If I can offer
Yeah,
that
yeah,
suggestion.
number one stands
I know
by
we are.
itself.
I know what you're
Yes.
saying there, but
number
for
three.
anybody
the shed.
listening and trying to follow
Motion
in
number,
variance
number
in
2
the
would
wild
be
here, it's a little confusing
items
unless we just go
1
in order.
through 5. The
Motion and a
excessive
second.
rear
Chairman,
yard lot
I think
cover
you
related
wanna
to
do
maybe
them in
chronologically
that order?
as they were laid out might be the easiest to
And
follow.
the
If I can offer
Yeah,
that
yeah,
suggestion.
number one
I
stands
know
by
we are.
itself.
I know what you're saying there, but for
I'd like
anybody.
to move that we approve item number 1, a 5-foot variance for a shed in case number 3492025.
I second.
Motion made by Mr. Mackey and seconded by Mr. Emmons. Discussion?
When I first looked at this case, I looked at the coverage of the lots, the siting of the sheds, specifically storage shed and a chicken coop. And I was immediately struck by also the garden activity that's going on in the backyard. So it's a lot to consider about the coverage of a backyard along with the pool. So it seems like there's no more space available anywhere in the applicant's backyard. But given her circumstances of having prior existing concrete pads, having the shed in question removed, the one that had deteriorated, I can understand readily where a contractor may have simply said, yes, we can simply put 2 buildings down and go ahead and complete the project on prior existing concrete pads. And I wonder, about the nature of the hardship here with a remedy. Can the sheds be moved? Is that economically feasible? And does that solve the problem that she's brought forward with these variance requests? And finally, when I look at the work that she's done in her backyard and the remedies she's provided for various code violations, look at the way she's neatly laid out garden boxes. They're all consistently made of the same material. Everything looks neat and orderly. So I think she's making the very best efforts to manage the space that she has. So the question to me is, can her problem be solved without extreme hardship of moving those sheds? And I consider it to be a very hard situation. It's an extreme hardship to move the sheds. She's already spent a substantial amount in having them built, whether she had any type of prior knowledge of city code. So that's my thoughts in general. For discussion, yeah.
I'm again, just to speak about the actual motion here, which is just the shed, and I agree with the shed. She's already on an existing concrete pad. it's in a cruddy location, but she didn't have any place else to deal with it. And so I can see exactly, you know, I can affirm what you said is that that's correct for the shed. And I don't have any issues with leaving the shed.
And I think you did start to stray over into the big picture, but I think it is, I mean, it is a big picture, but there are, I think the way we have it broken up is appropriate. With the shed, I think that the not being able to open the doors, if it was shifted to be in compliance, I think that's probably the biggest hardship for that, so. Okay, with that, any other discussion?
No more.
If you could please call the roll.
Mr. Mackey,
Yes?
Mr. Ammons,
Yes.
Mr. Papato,
Yes. Okay, so the variance request for the shed has passed.
Okay, with that said, I'd like to move to approve item number 2, which is comprised of 5 separate variances covering the chicken coop and the area of the backyard which comprises the chicken run. And in case number 349-2025.
Second?
I will second.
Motion made by Mr. Mackey and seconded by Mr. Ammons. Discussion? Would you like to go first again?
I'm gonna interrupt you real quick. I'm gonna say, Mr. Mackey, I am very much on the fence on this one. So if you need me to vote with you on this, then you're gonna need to convince me a little bit. So,
Well,
that's where this discussion is gonna go. You know,
Right.
we have some substantial requests being made here, and we know that chickens can be raised very healthily on within the ordinance. So if we want to approve it, I'm okay. But there's got to be. I suppose I'm asking for your assistance to help convince me that we should vote with it. So, what are your thoughts? What's your thoughts on it?
Well, when I consider this variance, and it is a complex request by the applicant, and it's well beyond the norm of what we normally consider. I look at the request for variances. As her ability to provide her the ability to properly raise and house chickens. Okay, if indeed she were unable to utilize this amount of space for chicken run and a chicken coop, she may well have to reduce the size of her flock substantially because she would not have the ability to have that size of a building. Well, the city would go forward with enforcement orders, possibly on the building itself. And then, of course, the containment area called the chicken run. And then if you have chickens being raised in an unhealthy manner, it's sure to generate problems in the neighborhood for the neighbors, and it may promote disease and illness for the flock, whatever size it is. So the question in my mind is, do we acknowledge the factors, as a whole here? And that she has a hardship, in my view, to be able to successfully raise chickens and to use the product of the chickens. And
So
then can she do it within code? Well, if the code is giving us 50 square feet, I'm wondering if you could raise 2 chickens in that, or 3. I have no idea. I'm not a chicken farmer.
Yeah, nor am I. That's why I was asking for, a little clarification and what your thoughts were on this, because, what I'm seeing here is a project that if it were presented to the committee ahead of time, most likely would have been denied because of size. And therefore someone would have had to have altered either the number of animals that they have or the size in some way to change the size to be compliant. So we're sort of forced into now looking at a project that's already been completed, and now it would not have been a hardship if we would have denied it. We had the opportunity to deny it in the first place, but now that it's up, it becomes a completely different animal, so to speak. So we're not. Is this a matter of let's put it up and see what we can get them to pass? I understand that the owner just didn't have any idea, and that's okay. I understand that, but that does not preclude her from necessarily complying with the codes of the city, just because she was unaware of the code. That's, in my mind, is not a good reason. I didn't know about it, so I did it anyways. So that's why I asked for, opinions of everyone and trying to find out exactly what can be done, because I am sympathetic to the homeowner. I realize there's money output here. There's animals that have to be dealt with. We have a lot of things that now we have to deal with that we would not have had to deal with had this been brought, forth at the proper time. So it's it brings to a light a different situation is all. And do we, are we? I almost feel like we're being forced into, something, making a vote on something because it's already there, and because of hardship. And I'm having a hard time just saying, okay, well, it's there, we can't do anything about it now, type of a thing. So, although I understand exactly your point.
Right.
I understand your point.
I absolutely agree with everything you said. But I also bear in mind, and before we eventually take a vote here, I also bear in mind that if we vote to deny the variance that's before us, her option then becomes to go back to the building department and make a major revision to her plan to somehow be able to come back and revisit the question of what variances would then be appropriate for her to maintain, poultry on the property, and how many and how much space. So, that's the crux of it. These are major variance requests. In fact, the entire backyard is totally utilized between gardening, the pool, chicken coop and chicken run, and the storage shed. There's no more space from what we're seeing. Okay, there is space to reduce some elements. That's at the homeowner's decision. So I agree. That there's a reluctance that we all share by having this placed in front of us in this manner. But we are the deciders here tonight, up or down. That's the way it is.
Okay, if I could. So, agree with everything said, and looking at the separate pieces of the separate items of the variance, and even backing further from there, the two letters that came from the neighbors. Sometimes we get letters that the applicant types out exactly what they want said and gives it to the person, says, here, please sign this if you were in agreement. So it's really clear. The applicant in this case just went to the neighbor and said, had a conversation and explained, and they said shed and shed. Well, there's two neighbors, two different sides, and there's essentially a shed building on each side. So I think we can assume that each neighbor was looking at the shed adjacent to their property. It wasn't just a shed somewhere. It wasn't, both neighbors weren't looking at the storage shed or looking at the chicken coop. I think each neighbor understood which shed they were referring to. So I think from the neighbor standpoint, I think that was clear. And then the variances, looking at the back of the lot, the 8'6" variance from the rear lot line, it's city property woods that is not used and won't be used. So I don't think that one is an issue. The side lot line, we have the letter for the neighbor, a 2-foot variance for a shed, or for the animal shelter that between 6 feet and 8 feet, I don't think is major. As I mentioned before, as I asked the applicant, the only variance which seems excessive is the 600 foot or the 550 square foot variance, which then affects the 5 foot, the distance where that shelter is. But then, as the applicant explained, looking at the picture, I mean, it's not really, as you said, the whole backyard is utilized, and it's really not if you took all the garden away, yes, that would all stand out, but it all kind of blends in, and you really don't see it as a separate entity in the backyard. And you could probably, I know people that have chickens, they let the chickens out just into the yard, and then essentially fence off their garden so that the chickens don't go into the garden and damage the crops and things like that. So versus this is the other way, where the chickens are enclosed. So I think while the variances on the surface might seem excessive given the situation, and as the applicant has stated that that if she had known that the buildings were out of compliance, would never have had them done that way, we wouldn't be in this place. And I do understand. I mean, we get this a lot of times where we feel like we are forced into something where someone comes and says, here's what we have, and I didn't realize it, but I do think that the pictures we have are neat and organized. Perhaps the backyard didn't look that way when the violations were first issued, and I would trust that this is a wake-up call for the homeowner to make sure that yep, you got a lot going on here, and I have a big yard that's complicated, and it takes a lot of maintenance to keep it that way. So that's my I guess my biggest concern is that's a lot. There's a lot going on there. But even if you didn't have the chicken coop, there'd still be a lot going on there. So those are my thoughts. Any other comments?
I have no more.
Okay, if you could please call the roll.
Mr. Mackey,
Yes.
Mr. Ammons,
Yes.
Mr. Papato,
Yes. Okay, so your variance for the chicken area has passed. Next motion, please.
I move that we consider a 10% variance for excessive rear yard lot coverage as item number 3, and approve in case number 3492025.
I second.
Okay, motion made by Mr. Mackey and seconded by discussion.
Mr. Chairman, I'm not sure at this point. discussion's required because
Oh.
the first two motions have already carried, and if you denied the third one, it would wipe out the first two.
Sure.
So,
That's what I was gonna say. I think that,
Okay, all right.
that once we, approved the chicken coop
you
part
could
of
just
it,
move right
we
to a
approved the land usage.
Okay, if you could please call the roll.
Mr. Mackey,
Yes,
Mr. Ammons.
Yes.
Mr. Papato,
Yes. Okay, the variance request is passed. Okay. Next item on the agenda. Whoops.
hold on. I just, hold on a second.
And you don't have to stay for the rest of the meeting.
This one is,
Right, 4269 Clay.
yeah, yeah. Okay, I just, never mind, go ahead.
Okay, next item on the agenda is 354-2025 Pat Heileman at 4269 Clay Road. Okay, anyone else here to speak on this case? Okay, sir, could you please give us your name and address?
Yeah, I'm George Eking with Shoemaker Electric, 5380 Damon Parkway in Solon.
Hang on one second. So I see that
Yeah,
Schumacher Electric is on the, so
They're the
he's okay
applicant.
to
Yep,
to
they're the
speak on
applicant,
this case?
correct.
Okay, sorry, you're just,
I was super confused looking at the agenda because it had Eric on it, so I was like, oh, maybe I'm not going today. Anyways, yeah, so with this,
oh, hang on one second. You gave us your name and address. I need to swear you in.
Oh.
If you could do, you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Thank you. Ms. Healy, give us an introduction.
Sure, this is for a generator. One variance request, it's a variance for placement of a generator in the front yard. Code requires that generators be placed in the rear or side yard. Applicant shows the generator in the front yard. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Good, please tell us about your case.
Yeah, so the homeowner, they are basically on a corner lot. With the location of the electrical system as well as the gas. One is in the front of the house, and the other one is just right around the corner, technically on the side of the house, but some would still consider it the front. Anyways, and we would like to put it right there near both the gas and the electric for the homeowner. So.
Okay. Ms. Healy, comments from the building department?
When you're in a corner lot, the shortest of the two is considered your front yard. We've had these issues before with placement. If are they in the front yard, they're in the side yard. When in a corner yard, the front yard is the shortest distance of the lot line. So this would be in the front yard. I mean, even if they put it on the side yard, it's still going to be visible. And the only place you're not going to see it is in the backyard, and it'll be hard because it'd be behind a fence too. I understand we do get these quite a bit where they got to talk about moving the gas line or moving the electric line or the panel or doing this, and it's a hardship for the homeowner. While we don't want to see a generator in the front yard, I think if they were able to move it to the side yard, it's on the sidewalk, and it's still going to be very visible to everybody. I don't really have anything else to add. Thank you.
Okay. Director Upton?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. I concur with everything Ms. Seeley said, and I do, going through the standards of our review, concur that there is a hardship, that the homeowner didn't create this, and those sorts of things. However, I would urge this board to give consideration of granting the variance conditioned upon some additional plantings to provide some type of buffer for those passing by. So maybe some grass, something of that sort, to provide a bit of a buffer. And that would be my recommendation.
Thank you. Director Rowe?
Thank you, sir. What are the dimensions of the generator that you're installing?
So it's about 3 by 5. It's really 3 by 3 by 4.5 ish. And then can I comment on the requirements from the director? So if you look at the pictures of where it is going to be located, going back to, I've actually never seen that picture. Going back to the location of where it would go, it would place it basically on the sidewalk, in front of the house there. If, we had to plant grass and that kind of thing. So there's really no way to plant grass in front of it. And to the sides, you don't want to plant anything within 3 feet of it because of airflow. And if you plant anything to the exhaust side, it's going to kill it anyway. So just that comment, just to be clear on that.
On the other side of the sidewalk? Because it's gonna go right here, right?
Yeah, it was more
so it's
that Terry, if you could pick this up, there seems to be some depth here in the landscape bed, and if this is 3 feet out this way, there still is a few feet that could be in front of that generator.
Correct. So to that point,
is my question.
Yeah. So you're good. So to that point, so that arrow is approximate spot, if you will, in there. It's going to go pretty close to the edge of the sidewalk because you have to have the distance based on code, away from the window, and there's a window there on the front.
Okay.
And then also just not everybody knows this kind of thing either, but just educational purposes on the front of it, if you were to plant, like, I know you could get those really tall grasses, that kind
Like
of
zebra
stuff.
grass or something like that.
Yeah. If you were to plant any of that, there, it also makes it a lot harder for, it's going to get torn out anyway if somebody had to work on the generator, just because the front cover comes off, to be able to access the unit.
So as I understand what you're saying is you're going to put this box in the front yard. You're not going to put anything around it. Can't put a fence around it. Can't put any screening around it. Nothing. You just put a 4 foot by 4 foot by 5 foot box in the front yard, and that's it, right?
Correct.
Okay. And I want to hear the hardship discussion about the cost, because that's not what the hardship standard is under Duncan Middlefield. I keep hearing discussions about it's cost or it's a cost. The cost is not an issue. The cost is, if it's cost somebody more money to put something somewhere else, well, then don't do it, right? It's not the issue of cost. It's the Duncan Middlefield standard about in terms of what we're looking at when we're granting a variance. Yes, you technically on this property, you certainly could put this somewhere without needing a variance. We know that, right? You certainly could. You could put it in the backyard. You could put it in the side yard. You could put it in the side yard. Mark gave you an opportunity to relocate the sidewalk, and maybe you could put some additional screening in because you got more room to work with. I don't know. But there are options that are available that get foreclosed immediately because somebody says, well, it's just going to cost too much money. Well, doesn't everything? So at some point you have to say, okay, well, what does this aesthetically look like in the city of North Olmsted if people put giant gray boxes in their front yard? And they look like the things you'd see out by the sidewalk when the utility company puts in a giant box and it just sits there. Well, and there's nothing we can do about it. That's the way it is. That's the only place it can go. It's the only place it's most affordable. So that's it. So there it is. That's my story. Nothing further.
It's easy to say, then don't get one because you're saying, oh, it's not affordable. But then what do you tell a resident when, their life depends on it, when the power goes out and their oxygen can't run?
There are options available to you. Is that the situation here? Is somebody oxygen deprived?
Correct.
Okay. It's part of your consideration, folks.
Thank you. Okay, board members, any questions for the applicant or for city staff?
I do have a question, sir. When I looked at the property and the siting that you've recommended, I did look at the sidewalk and noticed the gas meter along the side of the house on Esther Avenue. And I thought to myself, well, surely you could put the generator in the backyard, but then you're going to be running a conduit underground to get to the main meter. And there's some technical problems to that, but there's also a shorter answer of placing possibly the generator on the Esther Avenue side of the house, opposite the meter.
Yes.
What
So,
are there drawbacks to that, or is what
so
drove your decision to cite the generator
yeah.
in
So
front of the house?
the gas meter is actually in front of the house. The electric meter is on the side on Esther Avenue.
Okay.
Not that it matters either way, but with that, again, going back to code, so they have ventilation on that side of the house as well as the windows. Initially, we thought, oh, well, maybe we can put it, between the electric meter and the window to the right of the door. But again, there's ventilation there for, I believe it's their dryer. There might be some water heater stuff there too. I don't recall. But yeah, so it's too close based on safety and manufacturer specs of installing the unit.
Would it be prohibited by code?
100%. Now, if we, we could put it on that side of the house, go underneath the sidewalk, and put it on the other side of the sidewalk. But going back to his point of seeing a big box in the front yard, you do that, and it's going to be even more noticeable and, quite frankly, aesthetically unpleasing, because it's even further into the yard, and it's like, oh well, instead of something being close up to the house like it would be on the front, it's on the side, and it's like, oh well, what the heck is this?
You're talking about the left side up on.
If you're looking at the top picture,
Yeah.
putting it on the left side on the actual side of the house, not in front.
And the question was directed toward just that. It's exactly what you're referring to in your question, correct? Just to clarify, Mr. Mann.
Yes, the sighting of the generator in the front of the house as opposed to the side of the house along Esther Avenue with the grassy area there opposite the electric meter. I thought that just possibly offered a better opportunity to use some short fencing or something with a gate to conceal the thing, and then some kind of planning. So it isn't necessary for a generator to be shown to the public if you can put up a short fence and still have maintenance access and you put plantings around it. As long as you have the space requirement for exhaust, correct?
As long as we have the space requirement for exhaust and be able to work on the unit, and trust me, we do. This is all we do is generators. We do a lot of these things.
Absolutely.
And I try to stay out of these meetings as much as possible. I convince homeowners every single day to put it places they don't want to put it, because it will avoid things that are unesthetically pleasing, and avoid these meetings. So at all cost, I try to do that. But there are some cases where it just won't work.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, couldn't you reconfigure the front sidewalk in the front of the house to pull it out to allow you to have some additional opportunity for some screening, to screen it from view? Because you're working with an area that talks about the house and the sidewalk, which is kind of an artificial barrier. You could pull the sidewalk out another 3 or 4 feet, 5 feet, whatever it is, create more space, and you could put all kinds of aesthetically pleasing barriers along the way, couldn't you?
I don't know what the codes are and the needs are for the sidewalk for the city, so I couldn't answer to that question.
Well, assuming the code says you don't, this sidewalk right here, this sidewalk right here could be here.
I can't assume that.
It could be, as long as it's connecting where it needs to go, it could presumably could be moved.
I can't assume that. So to be honest,
We'll assume it
I
for the
don't
sake
know.
of this conversation. How's that sound?
If the homeowner would like to have the added expense of
It comes back to
the
expense
concrete,
again.
correct?
So the cheapest way to do it is the best way to do it, right?
Couldn't the screening go on the other side of the sidewalk?
Right, like,
That was my question. Can we put some
Couldn't you
bushes on the?
do the plantings on the other
opposite
side of the sidewalk?
Perhaps.
I'm sure. I think that would be totally fine. I don't think the customer would care about that, and it's doable.
Okay.
So you're gonna have it. So not only from Clegg Road, but also from Esther as well.
Yes.
So it's going to be kind of a V shape, essentially, where they put a decorative white fence or
something like that.
Planting
a solid
something.
fence.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, with the assistance of Ms. Seeley and the Google machine, we've ascertained that it's about a 6-foot landscape bed depth, right? Plus or minus, because the satellite might have been, off by a little bit. So it is 3 feet by 5 feet. Is the generator 3 feet wide?
Probably about 4.5.
5 feet long, right? So, and then what is the clear space that you then need to pop open the generator to service that?
So it's not it's the lid opens up, but the front of it just comes on. You need to have somebody able to get on the ground, and if they had to do an engine replacement or something that happens every year, is just service the unit with oil, that kind of thing.
And it's like
so
a
you have to have somebody
once a
be able to
year
work on it.
service type thing.
What was that?
It's a once a year service.
Correct.
Type
Well,
thing.
hopefully.
Well, right. Let's
But yeah.
knock on wood, right? So, if you had a 3 foot, and how far off the house does that generator sit once it's installed?
So for that, it's got to be from that window in the front. It's got to be 5 feet.
From that window. So what you're
So
saying?
we're gonna come. So if you're looking at the picture the way it is, we're gonna
You're gonna
come
come all the
towards
way out
me.
here as to where.
Correct, to that corner.
Okay. Now I'm understanding why that's not feasible. I was
Yeah.
trying to. So okay.
Yeah.
So, Mr. to the chair, sorry to, but I would amend or at least advise that the screening be, as you are suggesting, on the other side of the walkway.
Just to clarify, the distance between the window and the closest portion of the generator is 5 feet.
The exhaust side.
The exhaust side. The exhaust side is facing the
So
street.
it'll face. Is that Esther? Yeah, Esther. It'll face this way. If you're standing at basically at the front, the top of the picture, the top picture. If you're standing at the front of the house, it's gonna face to the left.
So the exhaust will go to the left.
Yeah. So
Away from the window and door.
So here, it'll go right here.
Oh.
The exhaust will go that way.
Gotcha.
It'll be right in the
Literally
corner.
right here.
where
The
that
dimensions again. Three
3
something
by
5.
3 by 5. Is that the dimensions?
What was the dimensions
so
again, sir?
3 feet wide.
I tell everybody I don't know. I couldn't give you what the exact dimensions are. I tell everybody 3 by 5, because a lot of times people will be like, "Oh, I'm going to clear this area," and they're like, "Oh, here you go," and it's not actually big enough. So I always tell them 3 by 5. In reality, it's smaller than that the footprint is.
Do you need to set this on a base of some
It
sort?
is. It goes on a concrete base just
You're
because
gonna pour
of
concrete.
erosion, and you want to make sure the unit stays level. And we anchor it to the concrete just because it's a motor. It's going to vibrate. You don't want to have it go for a walk.
Can I ask you a couple other questions then?
Go for it.
Does this house have a full basement?
I don't know if it's full,
It looks like
but I
it's-
believe
it's right there.
they do have a basement. I mean, I was in there,
Obviously have
so
gas and electric inside the basement.
in the
of this
basement,
house.
correct.
So a gas line and an electric line could be run theoretically to the back of the house, and this could be installed in the back of the house if ignoring the costs.
Ignoring the costs and the added repairs inside, yes.
Okay, is it a finished basement or is it an open basement?
It's, if I recall, it's finished with drywall ceiling.
So the utility area of the house is finished off as well?
No, the utility area is unfinished. I know that for a fact.
Okay, so you should be able to get at least some of it done. Then the next question I had for you is, I was under the impression, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm going by memory here, that the utility companies liked to see that their meters, here the electric meter and their gas meter, these things are freestanding units, are not impeding their meter in any way, so they can work on them, read them, and do stuff with them. So it was my impression they wanted them in the range of about 4 or 5 feet away from all of the meters. Are we gonna...
So the rule on that is 3 feet. So that's from any appliance to the house, if you will. So the electric meter, the gas meter, air conditioning, the rule is you want to be 3 feet away.
So you're still going to have plenty of room for the utility companies to get to their meters.
Oh, for sure.
Read the meters, and if we decided to deal with that.
Yes, sir.
tall is the generator?
It's no taller than an air conditioner. So maybe a little bit if you add the lid, but you know.
And the reason for that question was, so Director Upton, is the screening, I agree, is an important element if it is approved to be placed in the front. If it's landscape screening, no variances are needed. If it is some type of fence, then you're back to variances again because it'll be taller.
Possibly.
3 feet or 30 inches, and it won't be opaque and all those
Right.
kind of things. So just keep that in mind as a condition that that it would be solid landscape screening versus a fence would be the better way to go. Otherwise, you need another variance to.
Okay. I don't know what the code is on the fence, so
It's
I'm sure there's one.
30 inches.
right, 30 inches and 50.
Mr. Chairman,
50% open.
might I suggest that there are some alternatives that could be solved without a variance, and before this can gets totally kicked and the resident has to substantially alter their application, that they might be invited back to answer some of the questions relative to the positioning that their professional might not be able to answer, just as a courtesy, if that is the board's pleasure. I know that there's been a suggestion that there's a finished basement. There's a way in which the generator could theoretically not need a variance. We've heard a lot about cost, and trust me, I get it. But I may just offer that as a suggestion as well.
That the board would
Maybe table this and ask that the homeowner be here. I'm guess, is it the homeowner that's on the oxygen or
Correct, the husband.
the
I don't
husband?
know if
Okay.
I'm allowed to share that or not, but
Yeah.
whoops. So my question with that, so
I'm not the decision maker. I'm
you're
the
good.
staff for the board. I'm processing
you're just
things and
thinking.
trying to
Nope,
help
you're
the
good.
resident out.
You're good. So my question to that is, let's say, and this goes in any case, let's say you guys say nope, has to go in the backyard. Okay. What happens when this has to, again, based on code and installation with windows and has to then, because their yards aren't very big there, has to then go and be, closer to the center of the yard or take up basically a portion of the yard that makes it so they can't enjoy their yard like they regularly would.
Mr. Chairman, I would ask that, it's a hypothetical question with facts that really aren't in evidence, so I don't know what good answering that question would be. They're not making that decision if it's in the backyard. If they're saying no to the front yard, then it's up to the applicant to figure
that's
out
fine.
where to put it so that they don't run into the problems that you've raised now or in the future.
And as I noted at the beginning of the meeting, this may be you can see the questions that have arisen, and maybe this is one that, so in the event that we did vote and it didn't pass, you need a in order to come back, you'd either have to completely comply or come with a completely different proposal. So perhaps tabling and getting more information with either the same location or a different location or alternate location may be the best approach at this time.
Okay. I don't know if I can ask this or not, or if I can even get an answer to it. What are the rules or the codes on like a decorative fence on that corner if it was 3 feet by 3 feet, like 3 feet on each corner?
So a fence not exceeding, for side and rear yards, a fence not exceeding 6 feet. What's a corner lot? Fence not exceeding 6 feet in height may be constructed on a corner lot in the side and rear yards, provided that the fence set back at least 20 feet, so you're not gonna get the 20 feet to have a solid fence. A fence that is at least 50% open and that does not exceed 30 inches in height may be constructed on a corner lot. So it could be 30 inches high, but it's probably not gonna cover the generator. And it has to be,
And the opacity is.
it's 50%, so you'd still see it.
Well, you
I think-
distracted enough, I think.
Possibly.
Yeah.
The board could consider and grant a variance for that as well. I mean, if between now and the next meeting, something were submitted showing the type of screening as an option that would be part of your approval would include a variance for that particular issue. Agreed?
Sure.
Now, if they wanted to do something else with landscape screening or something, then they could detail what they're planning on doing there as well, or some combination of the two, or put it in the backyard. I don't know,
So
whatever.
without misspeaking, no variance for, if they do it in landscape, there's no variance required.
There's not, but I would want it, but that would be part of your conditioned approval.
Or if it was part of the present of the application.
Yeah, well,
showing that
it should be, right, so that if you're going to require screening on it, we don't often require conditional variances, but we don't often also approve, if ever, generators in the front yard, so, you know, it's kind of explains how we got to where we are.
Okay, so understood, tabling it to our next meeting and a little more information on the, an updated application with.
So no vote at all. You guys just want to table it then?
Well,
I think that,
till the next meeting, to get additional information from the applicant.
So if they choose to do landscaping on that corner, which would very easily block, then we don't need to table it and do anything.
The question becomes: this board does not know what that landscaping looks like. I believe that my colleague, our law director, would advise that we want to see what we're approving, not just quote landscaping buffer. And I would want that as part of what they are looking at and approving as well. And that's something that's commonplace that we do on the planning and design commission side. We never approve anything unless we can see what we're approving. And so asking them to approve a variance condition upon a landscape buffer without them seeing what they're approving would not be fair.
and fully vet an alternate location that perhaps would comply, but would have certain hardships.
So, but I thought earlier it was stated that we didn't need to have a variance granted for landscaping if it was suggested that landscaping would be used.
But we don't know what the landscaping would look like. We have no idea. We don't know if you're authorized to approve it as you stand here, unless you're saying you are. Are you authorized to install landscaping as part of the landscaping around the entire thing? That you're gonna, you're authorized to put the homeowner on responsibility to pay for that?
The landscaping on the, yeah,
We still don't know what it looks like.
but we don't need a variance for.
It's a condition variance that the variance would, it's not a variance for the landscaping. It's a condition variance that the variance comes with it, requiring you to install sufficient screening landscaping. We don't have any idea what sufficient screening landscape in the applicant's opinion would be, as opposed to what the board would require.
So you want to know what
They plan on doing for screening, yes.
But the variance isn't needed to be able to.
Okay, look, you should go back to the applicant and you should have them come up with a concept for how they intend to screen this and then present it to the city. Right? So that we know. So that when this board votes on approving it, which it sounds like they would if there's some screening, that they understand what that screening looks like and everybody's on the same page. Right now, we're not on the same page. We don't even have the same.
But as long as it's screened with plants, right? It's good.
Mr. Chairman, I
if
think
it's
we
not
should move to
screened, it's
table.
not
I think we're
screened.
not going to engage in this debate any further. I think you should move to table.
Well,
it to
I'm
the next meeting.
making a point. So the reason I'm pushing for this is because, like I said earlier, we have a customer that is on oxygen. What happens? What if one of you were on oxygen
But
and the power went out?
Mr. Chairman, that's I understand what you're suggesting to the board, but what the board, you've come up with an extremely unusual request tonight.
That is not true. We get that every single day.
You might, we don't.
Okay.
I said you
So
come
this is one of
here.
your
I'm not
residents.
here to debate you, and quite frankly, I'm tired of it.
This is one of your residents, though, isn't it?
No, sir, it's not. Of course it is. But we're bound by the law. We're not
Correct.
bound by your opinion. Mr. Chairman, move to table this and move on, please.
Let's move to table. Do you have a motion to table, please?
Yes, I move we table, case number 354-2025 till till our next meeting.
All in favor?
Second.
And Mr. Chairman, with the request that the applicant submit to the city of North Olmsted either a fencing screening sufficient to screen it, in their opinion sufficient, or landscaping. What would they submit? That's it. Those two things, one of those two things submitted by the applicant, their concept of what they believe would be sufficient screening, the city can review it, make comment on it, and then bring it back to you at the meeting in January.
And if I could, I don't know that we were heading towards approval even with landscaping. I mean, only, in addition to only having 3 people tonight, and not having an alternate fully vetted, I think we weren't on a good path
Well,
proceeding tonight. So
there'll be a fourth
fine.
person, maybe 5 people here at the next meeting, which may help the ultimate resolution anyways. Maybe.
okay. Okay. So motion
Okay.
made by
I move to withdraw the previous motion and submit a new motion. Mr. Chairman, I move that we table case number 354-2025 until the next meeting, conditional on the applicant or the applicant's representative bringing forward a plan for either fencing or appropriate landscape architecture to obscure any view of the generator placed in front of the house.
Second.
motion made by Mr. Mackey, seconded by Mr. Ammons. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Thank
Thank you, gentlemen.
Table till next meeting. Okay. Next item on our agenda, 355-2025 Stephen Toth at 4455 Brendan Lane. Anyone else here to speak on this case? Sir, if we could please have your name and address.
Stephen Toth, 4455 Brendan Lane.
And if I could swear you in, please.
Sure.
Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. Ms. Ely, if you could please give us an introduction.
Yes. All right, this is for a roofed patio cover. There's one variance. It's a 12-foot variance for rear yard setback of a dwelling. Code requires 50 feet. Applicant shows 38 feet. The structure is 16 by 16 gable roofed patio cover attached to the back of the home. Thank you.
Okay, sir, if you could please tell us about your case.
Sure. I have a little thing I wrote up, so just to make this a little easier. I appreciate you all for being here and your commitment to the city's welfare. I'm grateful for this chance to present the next phase of our backyard home improvement project, the addition of the 16 by 16 patio roof. It's been a long-held aspiration. We're ready to undertake this next step of our home improvement. The need for the variance, as Ms. Seeley said, is 38 feet from the back of the property line, so it is less than the 50 feet required. However, behind our property is just woods, so it wouldn't be infringing on anyone's backyard behind us. As a side note, we're trying to purchase more of that land behind us as well. We're just trying to get in touch with that owner, and that has not been easy. Many homes on our street already have structures that don't adhere to the distance requirement. Our project will align with existing neighborhood aesthetics, modernizing our home and enhancing the functionality of the patio and backyard. We had just recently redone the patio, expanded it, added a hot tub. So this would just be the next step in that project. And we were told that we could build it as long as it wasn't attached to the house, even larger structure than that, but we felt that it wouldn't look good enough and function as well as attaching it to the house. Is basically, I want to do the project correctly as opposed to just slapping something up that'll work. And that's pretty much all I have.
Thank you. Ms. Sealy, comments from the building department?
Yeah, that's correct. When we first met, we talked about a lot of options, what he was doing in his yard, and it was gonna be a gazebo, either attach it or not. If it was attached, like he said, he wouldn't have had to go for a variance because it would have not been attached to the home, creating the setback variance. He may have had to go for maybe something else, but definitely not the setback variance. So I agree with him. He wants to do it the right way, attach it to his home, and that's why we're here today. Thank you.
Director Upton, any comments from them?
And not on this case, Mr. Chairman.
Director Rowe?
Thank you.
No, sir. Thank you.
Board members, any questions for the
I
applicant?
have no questions.
I have no questions.
I have a question for Ms. Sealy.
Yes.
So would anything he puts on the back of the house
Correct.
need a variance? This is
Yes.
one of those cases where the 50 feet comes right up to the back
Exactly,
of the house.
right. He has a very short backyard, so yeah, anything he wanted to do would require a variance.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right, thank you. Okay. So seeing no questions, you can have a seat. If we could have a motion in a second, please.
I move we approve case number 355-2025.
I second.
Motion made by Mr. Mackey and seconded by Mr. Ammons. Any discussion?
It's a very common sort of variance request. Enhancement of the homeowner's property is the primary goal, and more enjoyment of the property, so I'm in favor of it.
Agreed.
Yeah, same. And the thing for me is that this is one of those lots that we've had a few on Brendan Lane. I think that at those short backyards with, that anything they would do would need a variance. So. Okay, if you could please call the roll.
Mr. Mackey,
Yes.
Mr. Ammons,
Yes.
Mr. Lopato.
Yes. Okay, sir, your request has passed.
Sorry, I gotta go through all that.
Okay, last item for the evening, commercial appeal and request 353-2025, Mahesh Pampati at 25070 Country Club Boulevard.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening. If you could please give us your name, spelling?
Mahesh Pampati, Mahesh Pampati, Pampati. I'm the property owner for 25070 Country Club Boulevard.
Okay, thank you. If I could please swear you in. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Director Upton.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. There are two variants requested today. One is a 162 square foot variance for a primary facade. Applicant requests 343. Code allows 181. Second is a 150 square foot variance for a secondary facade. Applicant requests 22328. Code allows 72 square feet. Tables 1163-12-1, maximum square footage area allowed for the sign. Additionally, you all received a fantastic staff write-up with respect to this particular property. If I may say so myself, the variance is, in our view, is not substantial. If you could go back one slide, please, because the property is unique in how you are determining a primary versus a secondary facade when there is this is the former Radisson. It was the RL for a minute. It was going to be the Sonesta for a second, and now we're thankful and grateful that Mahesh and his parents have decided to invest, and it's really coming along quite nicely. But you could see that the building itself, when determining where the primary, where the secondary facade is, and kind of the standard sign package for Holiday Inn, it creates some difficulties for us in making the calculations and how we do it. And so the building itself presents practical difficulties that the owner did not create. If you go through the sign package real quick, I'll ask if we just kind of roll through them, and as you see, nothing in the sign package itself it lends itself to being overly egregious where you're thinking that this is not proportionate with what's already there or with what you would expect a hotel that fronts high traffic intersections and that sort to be. So we see no issue with this variance. We urge this board to give it favorable consideration.
Thank you. Okay, if you could please, if you have anything to add to that splendid introduction.
Yeah,
please.
no, it was perfect. I mean, just give background on us. We've been in the hospitality business in Cleveland for 10 years. In Eastlake, Ohio, we took over a Radisson there 10 years ago and did a multi-million-dollar renovation, made it a 4 Points by Sheraton. We revitalized the building, spent significant amount of money, increased revenues, jobs. And when we saw this opportunity here a year ago, we saw this neglected hotel with multiple owners not caring for it, not taking care of it, and we saw this wonderful city that we fell in love with, and we thought this could be an opportunity for us to do the same thing we did in Eastlake and do here. And we're in the middle of this multi-million-dollar renovation, and your support for this variance would really help us and grow our business and hopefully spur more development in the area, because a lot of these buildings were built in the 70s and 80s, and property owners need to reinvest in them and rebuild them. And we have a lot of opportunity in North Olmsted. Hopefully the Brown Stadium comes and all this happens, and this is our opportunity.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Board members, any questions for city staff or the applicant?
I have no questions.
I have no questions.
No, good also. If you could have a seat. Could have a motion and a second, please.
I move we approve the variances in case number 353-2025.
I second.
Motion made by Mr. Mackey and seconded by Mr. Ammons. Discussion?
Well, you know, that property has been neglected for so long until a new ownership came on board to take control of the deteriorating situation. When I drove through the site and saw all the renovation work going on, it dawned on me that it's been a completely forgotten property to me every time I've driven down Great Northern Boulevard until I actually took a look at it. There was nothing to draw my attention to it, you know, since it ceased to function as a hotel. And it anchors a gateway to our city. A very important piece of property in my estimation. I'm totally in favor of this.
I agree on that one, and the proposed increase of the sign are in proportion with the building, so I don't see that allowing this in this particular case is a huge problem for me at least, because I think that it is appropriate for the size of the building.
And it was Director Upton's introduction that swayed me, so I didn't need to hear any more after that. But I did recently drive by the 4 Points in Eastlake, and no offense to Eastlake, but my thought was, wow, this is awfully upscale for Eastlake. Hopefully you'll do the same quality work as you there that here that you did there. So, I'm in favor also. So if you could please call the roll.
Mr. Mackey?
Yes.
Mr. Ammons?
Yes.
Mr. Papato?
Yes. Okay, folks, thank you for your efforts. Okay. We need to have make a motion that we excuse Ms. Botno for the evening.
I'll second.
Made by me. Yes. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And
Mr. Chairman, if I may, interviews are ongoing with the administration for our fifth member of Building and Zoning Board of Appeals. We are also conducting interviews because Mr. Papato has informed the administration that after many years of service, he is stepping down from the Building and Zoning Board of Appeals. We thank him for his leadership and for everything that he's given to the city, and we're grateful for his volunteerism and lending his expertise to this board. And I am particularly grateful to him because when Mr. Allen stepped down about 2 months after me coming on the job, he really solidified this body with really steady leadership when I was just getting my sea legs underneath me. So I will miss you, Mr. Papato. I wish you all the best. And if you ever get the itch again, there's a seat up on the dais for you if you decide that you're a glutton for punishment once more. So thank you for everything you've done.
Thank you. It's been,
Job well done, Bob.
all right, and with that, we will adjourn at 8:50.